and cold and settled in its ways.
For those that don't know me, my name's John. I'm Dave's older brother. Wow, good crowd. That's not even anything. All right. So, as many brothers do, there's a lot that Dave and I have in common. Not everything, but there is a lot. And it started really early on. My parents will tell you, like, anything I did, Dave had to do, like, at the exact same time. So, you know, if I'm running around, like, he's chasing me, even though he's, like, 1 year old or whatever. And even going that far back, like, he was always, like, the Robin to my Batman. And I mean that, like, extremely literally. There's pictures when I was, like, 4 and I was Batman, he was Robin. And we dressed up, many things back then. And at the time, actually just looking back, I actually feel kind of guilty because I do remember, like, beating him up pretty bad, pretty consistently for several years. And we were talking about it just a couple years ago, and I was saying, you know, I feel bad because I remember when we were kids and we're playing on the hill in the backyard, and I grabbed this, like, big old rock, and we were just, like, throwing rocks because that's what we did. And I just grabbed this big old rock and I just threw it, and it just, like, smacked you right in the head. And I just remember it being this, like, traumatic thing, and I always, like, felt guilty about that. And he starts looking at me like I'm an insane person, and he's like, what are you talking about? That was me that threw the rock and hit you in the head. So then I actually felt a lot less guilty after that, although it did make me question a lot of things, because I was like, apparently I've had this head injury my whole life, and I can't even remember who was brutalizing who. So, like, maybe he was beating me up all those years, and I just have no idea. So as we got a little older, there was less, like, physical abuse happening, and our interest diverged a little bit more. I was, like, more into, like, sports and stuff, and Dave was into, like, the little, you know, nerdier side. Not that I wasn't into that too, but, like, more into the video games, and he and his friends would have LAN parties. And they're over there. They're still hanging out, probably playing a video game together right at this exact moment. But you know, we still had a lot in common, but it was a little bit less. Like, he bought a mountain bike, and I don't know if you've been to my parents' house, but that's at the very top of a hill. And I remember thinking, like, what are you doing? Like, this makes no sense to me. It's like some of these things that he started getting into running. And I'm like, but why are you running? I don't get you running to just nowhere. Like, I don't get it. So we didn't have everything in common at that point. But we still we'd do some things together. I remember when we were in high school and we took a vacation to the Bahamas, and the whole family went, and we stayed at this, like, incredible, like, island, and they filmed a James Bond movie outside. It was crazy. And we were super focused on the fact that Diablo 2 had just come out. And we were, like, reading the manual inside with, like, the Bahamas and this, like, paradise outside. And we're like, no, but I'm pretty sure that spell, like, it doesn't really, like, work with that other thing. Looking back on it, it seems kind of insane, but that's what we were into at the time. And even getting into college, we were at Cal Poly for a year together, and we didn't hang out all that much. Like, he was in the marching band, and I wasn't, like, quite that dorky at that time. And, you know, he played a lot of World of Warcraft, which I think contributed to him no longer being at Cal Poly after a year. And I never took that dive, you know. But after college, we sort of reconnected, started hanging out more. It started with just, like, a random thing where we decided to, like, go hang out in the city, and ended up, like, on some random stoop somewhere and just, like, hanging out all night. And from there, we just kind of, like, started talking more and started hanging out more. And as we got a little older, it just happened that his roommate moved out, and I ended up moving into his apartment, and we ended up being roommates in the city for a couple of years. And so we had the chance to do some of the things that we had always done, like dress up like idiots. You know, we dressed up like Santa. We dressed up to go to SnuggyCon. We dressed up. We had a whole costume box, which it's pretty embarrassing for a couple of single guys in their 20s to have a costume box, but that was us. And then a little later, we joined Sunday Recess, which many of you know about because that's how Dave and V met. And I specifically remember on our way out to go play football the first time, Dave was rocking his short cut-off jorts, his jean shorts that he'd cut himself, and they're super short. And I remember on our hour-long trip out to the beach saying what are you thinking? We're going to this thing. Half the reason we joined this is to meet girls, and you're wearing the most ridiculous shorts I've ever seen in my life. And then a couple of weeks later, I found out he's dating a girl on our Sunday Recess team. And I'm wow, this is amazing. She must have not been there that week. She must have been she showed up later. And then come to find out later, I asked Veronica, she's no, I love the jorts. And that made me think wow, there really is somebody for everyone. So we kept playing Sunday Recess, and we played football and Ultimate Frisbee and all that fun stuff. And ever since then, we've definitely had a lot in common. We have the same taste in TV, video games, travel, sports, eating pork burritos, although slightly different types of pork, but still pretty close. We both got into the same kinds of cooking, and even for Christmas a couple years ago, we got each other the exact same cooking gadget for Christmas. So yeah, we just have a lot in common. Even our hairlines are similar. And now Dave and V get to be an aunt and uncle to our two little girls that everyone saw go down the aisle. And even now they have a lot in common with Dave, especially. They're never cold, never want to wear a sweatshirt, and in fact often want to just rip off their shirt and run off, which is Dave's signature move. And even recently, Bernie was sitting and she was writing, and I said, "Oh, what are you drawing?" And she said, "I'm writing. It's a V for Veronica," and it was her first letter. So first letter V for Veronica. So to that point, thank you for being a good aunt and uncle. Thanks for being a good brother. And I look forward to a long time of have a lot in common. So, cheers.
And thank you so much to everyone who traveled all the way out here to celebrate the beautiful couple. They look amazing tonight. And it's no surprise that all of your friends and family are just as warm and welcoming and as wonderful as you are. So for those of you who do not know me, my name is Danielle, and I'm beyond thrilled to be supporting my best friend in the entire world as her maid of honor, or matron of honor, I guess. That's all right. So Veronica and I's friendship started when we were very small. We have been best friends for, I would say, 22 years, actually. We became very, very close at the age of 8 or 9 in the 4th grade, and we never really looked back. So we were best friends through all of middle school, high school in Oklahoma City. We've traveled through Europe together. We've vacationed with each other's families. And really, we've been pretty inseparable since then. I still remember, so it's funny because we were getting ready all together, and you mentioned this exact same story that I was planning on mentioning. So I remember the night before I left for college, going to Swanee, Tennessee, and Veronica left for college a little bit after me. we were at a party at a friend's house, and when we parted ways, I mean, it was like the world was ending. Like, it was so dramatic. We embraced. There were tears just flowing and flowing. We like sat in the car listening to sad music. It was pretty amazing. It was like we were never gonna see each other again, even though we were like a plane ride away. But just goes to show we were pretty torn up about, finally not being in the same place together. So anyway, since then, Veronica and I have not lived in the same city. We've not even lived in the same state since then. But somehow, our friendship has managed to survive the test of time. We have made trips to visit one another every few years. We make the time every once in a while to have that hour-plus long phone call and just talk about whatever it is we have to talk about, and just, it's like no time has passed, basically, whenever we see each other. So it was during, actually, one of these great trips of friendship that we, made, that I met Dave. So, shockingly, me, a friend who lives hundreds of miles away, was actually one of Veronica's first friends to meet him, because I came to visit in April of 2011, and they met at the end of February 2011. So, I came to San Francisco. I'd never been before. I was so amped, and I was going to spend 4 days with my best friend. I remember how excited that she was to meet up with this group of friends that she met at this Sunday recess that you just heard about. And I was like, all right, this is great. I'm ready. And she was especially excited about one teammate in particular. Of course, this was Dave, as you all might imagine. And so as a true best friend, I was like ready to be totally supportive and at the same time exceptionally vigilant and ready to judge the worthiness of this character, who my best friend was clearly giddy about, but trying, her best efforts to stay super casual, whatever, it's fine. So we all met up at this Irish pub, and it wasn't long before Dave's humor, warmth, and apparent admiration of Veronica really won me over. I was like, all right, that seems fine. It's good. It's really good. So then I got to know Dave even better over the years when he came to Oklahoma City to spend some holidays with her family. He cooked, which, if you know Veronica, has never been something she enjoyed that much. And so I was like, this is going to be fantastic. Like, what a great pair. Amazing. And actually last spring, we went on a trip. My husband, who is also named David, and I and Veronica and Dave went to Portland together and spent 3 days just hanging out through the city, and got to know him a lot better, even though I felt like I knew him really well just from the moment we first met, because he's just that kind of person, as you all know. And fortunately, the Daves, as we now call them, just got along super famously, and they both have glasses and have the same similar colored hair, and they're the same height. So it's super easy. It's fantastic. And this bodes very well for any future trips that we take together, because, hey, I love it. And now the rest is history, and we're celebrating their marriage tonight. How amazing. So, Veronica, you are by far the truest, most honest, and just best friend I could have ever asked for. And I just feel so lucky that I found you so early in life. That's so amazing and so rare. You deserve all the happiness in the world. And I'm just so overjoyed that you have found someone who makes you laugh and feel like the extraordinary woman you are in Dave. So I'm just so thrilled into Dave. So Veronica is someone who really gives her whole self to the people she loves. I mean, you all know it. Whenever she talks to you, it's like you are the only person there, and that is just so special. And she's chosen you to be her partner through life, and I just know that you're worthy of this amazing woman, and you're going to take wonderful care of her, and you're going to have a beautiful, beautiful life together. And I've just watched your love grow for each other, and I'm just so excited to be there for you both during this new and exciting chapter in your lives. So please join me in raising a glass to Veronica and Dave. May your lives together be filled with happiness, laughter, and amazing adventures. I love you so much. Cheers. Thanks.
Hello. I'm Veronica's younger brother. And mine's a lot shorter, so I'll talk slow right now, and we'll get to it. But in college, and a few years after, I worked on and off for different catering companies. And 90% of all the shifts I worked at these catering companies were weddings. And I'd always be comparing and contrasting the bride and groom to Veronica and Dave. And I'd always think, like, oh, these idiots don't even have near half the love that Veronica and Dave have. But as I'd be doing that, I'd actually start, there's literally often times where I was getting emotional while working these catering shifts and probably holding back tears when telling someone there's no meat in something that has meat in it. So I think it's impossible to not see that what you two have is true love. And what I've seen in the last 7 years has been, or 6.5, has been nothing but inspiring. You both have shared your lives together while experiencing your own as individuals and living your lives to the fullest and growing as individuals as well as a couple. I know I said that in the ceremony, but it's true. And that's super important to me, and really, it's been really big for me to see that happen between the two of you. And so I'll address you both as individuals and then as a couple. And so, Veronica, you've been a teacher for me since I was born. You're my older sister. You taught me how to ride a bike. You give me advice talking to girls occasionally. You potty trained me at one point. And I'm super lucky to have you as a sister. And now, by example, you're teaching me how to love. And so I'm extremely lucky to have that in my life. And Dave, you're the man. Seriously. You have a constant interest in the world around you, which I think was in Veronica's vows at one point, or something that happened earlier. But that's also true, and I know you're perfect for my sister. And so to both of you, as you both go forward and your love grows, and eventually that love will spread to probably a little Veronica/Dave, I'm so excited to watch it unfold. And I'm pretty sure everyone here will be inspired throughout the entire time. So I love you both. Thank you for being you, and thank you for getting married. And cheers to you.
So, actually, before I get started, were these three amazing? I figure they're going to stutter through it. There's going to be, I'm going to have no problem. And then these three, oh my gosh.
It's hard to follow these three.
Hard to follow. Really well done, guys. Really well done. So yeah, Gene and I obviously are very happy to be here tonight. But first we want to thank Susan and Joe. So thank you so much for this. What a beautiful venue, beautiful day. Apparently they can contribute to the weather, and the weather's been amazing. So we really appreciate it. So it's just beautiful. So and I did think of a quick story though. Sorry to go from the script. Sorry, but when you were talking about this Sunday recess thing, which apparently needs to be mentioned in each speech. So it was funny because Susan came out one time and visited us, and we went to Sunday recess. And I was thinking...
we sat with Susan, just like we used to sit with the kids at soccer. Susan and Mark and I were on the sidelines, and there's our kids playing soccer together. And we're like, but this is weird, because these are grown-ups and boys and girls together. And this is kind of charming, but kind of weird, and here we are.
Yeah, it's okay when they're 5. But I think when they're like 25, maybe, I don't know, it's a little creepy maybe. But I was still there. I was keeping score. I mean, I was like into it, so it was a good game and everything else. But anyway, we met them very early on, and Susan was there, and that was great. So Veronica came, and really from the beginning of when we first met Veronica, I mean, she was part of the family. I mean, if you really think about it, she came on all the family events. She came to Pinecrest, our annual trip that we take with Jean and her sister's family up to the mountains every year. She's in all of our Christmas photos, so she was a keeper, right? And so she had, yeah.
She's
so
on the photos.
She's in the photos, so it had to happen, and so that was great, and so she's really been a part of our family. In fact, I keep all my photos on Google Photos, of course, and I did a recent Google Photos search. You can do face searches, right, on Google Photos. So I brought up Veronica, and I did this just before it came. 564 photos have Veronica in them. Okay.
It does.
Dave's only got like 300. I don't know. I'm not sure, but so plenty of pictures of Veronica. She's in our hearts, and she's been a member of our family really for over 6 years now. So that's great. Now 6 years ago, when Veronica joined, that was the first year that we had one of our nieces got married. Christina and
Boris, who now have 3 children that came today.
That's right. 3 children. Keep that in mind. So they had anyway, they had the we had the wedding, and Veronica said that was the first wedding she'd been to.
She was so excited. She couldn't go to her cousin's wedding because she was out of country or something, but she's like, I'm so excited to go to a wedding. I haven't been to a wedding. I don't think I've ever been to a wedding. Yeah. So she came to our family wedding.
That's right.
Which was the Cogans at the Fairmont in San Francisco.
That's right. And so she was extremely excited. And at that wedding, David, with his famous knees, showed up because he wore a kilt. Okay,
right.
and John, right, with
his
brother. They
wore matching kilts because that was another costume.
That's right. Now the whole kilt thing, for those who don't know, is that Jean's grandfather's from Scotland and very much a Scottish heritage. And so to remember that, we've brought something for you for your honeymoon, little memento for your honeymoon. We brought this for you guys.
In case Veronica misses your knees while you're on your trip,
that's right.
This is what's called an IntelliKilt. And David can use his beach towel to make it into a kilt.
That's right.
And you can be on the beach and also wrap yourself in a kilt.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful He will, after a little dancing tonight, trust me, he'll be in that kilt. So we'll definitely see that. So we thought that would be fun. Now it's interesting. So I had not been to a wedding 6 years ago. And then we had 3 other cousins of David's who got married since then, and Veronica came to all those. Well, I'm going to get to those. Came to all those weddings as well. That was Kelly and Paul from Seattle, and then also Lisa's wedding. Yeah, I should know that. I officiated. Yeah. So Lisa's wedding, and so they went to those as well, and Veronica was in all of those, and then. 5 years ago, we were so blessed when John married Becca, and we were so happy to have Becca as a new daughter in our family. And who was the bridesmaid was Veronica. So now she's really getting into the wedding thing, right? Yeah, no, it's happening now. And then 3 years ago, my daughter Angela got married to Chris. So again, so happy to have Chris as a member of our family. And Veronica was, again, a bridesmaid. So she's been doing the wedding thing for like 6 weddings. Plus, I know you two went to a whole lot of other weddings, right, in that time. So she's been in the wedding mode. Now this is where it gets interesting because everyone knows of Veronica's athletic abilities, right? I mean, she was in soccer and field hockey and now a great runner. And we know she's very athletic and she's very competent in athletics, right? Now, she's been to all of these weddings over the years, right? And in none of those weddings do I recall seeing her in any way try for that bouquet. You know, if I really think about it, in fact, we have video proof of her standing it there, and as soon as that bouquet threw, she was like running this way. So we were extremely, well, we didn't think this would ever happen, really, but it was like we're so excited that indeed she finally saw the foresight to go ahead and
got
go.
Married. She caught the bouquet.
There
last year.
There you go. So that indeed did happen. Now. So yes, thank you for that. Thank you, Danielle. Thank you, Danielle. So I just want to say something about children and the milestones that they go through. There's so many. I think about all the events, and you parents know this, right? All the events that your children and the milestones that they go through. The time the first time you're pregnant, right? And the first time you have the birth, and then their first steps, and the first time they eat something, and all these different school milestones, and the first time they were in a play or they were in the football field, or all these different milestones of life that they go through, and you just hope that you can witness all those and be a part of all those milestones as they grow up, and then they get to a point where you're sending them off to college and you leave them, and that's a big milestone. Then they graduate from college. Oh God, thank God they graduate from college. That's great. And then they get a job, and they're off the payroll.
And maybe health benefits.
And health benefits, that's a good thing too. So you look for all those milestones that your children have, and then you just hope they find that special someone that they're going to settle down with. And we were so blessed when our first two found one, and then we were just hoping that Veronica would be indeed the one, and she did turn out to be that. So we're so happy that they've made those milestones and have made it. Now there's like one more milestone as parents you always want to see your kids kind of go through. Well, I'm not saying anything in particular. No, I'm just kind of saying, that there might be another milestone. But to be serious, that what we're now experiencing as grandparents with John and his children is going through those events and those milestones all over again, right? We get to see them walk and have their first food and things like that. So it's really special for us to be able to enjoy all those. So I did want to say something to Veronica. This is the only thing I didn't memorize. So I've got a little poem for you, Veronica, because my goal is to make her cry. And it's easy. I know, it's not much of a goal. It's not much of a goal.
Watch out when you do that, you start crying.
Do I? Well, I'll try. So this is a short poem that I think really kind of articulates how Gene and I feel. So, thanks for the love you show us. Your sweetness touches our hearts. Whenever we think of family, we realize you're a special part. Our son has chosen you to be his partner and friend for life. We would like you to know we're glad you are his wife.
Aww. It worked.
It worked. So let's give her a little quick toast. Raise your glasses, please. I've got a short one. A successful marriage requires falling in love many times, always with the same person. Aww. To Veronica and David. Thank you.
Oh, my goodness. Veronica and Dave. Well, I'm wearing a dress with pockets, and there's a good reason for that. So, I don't know a lot about giving wedding toasts, but I do know a great deal about my daughter, about Veronica Mary McCarthy Burns Bloomquist. Good luck with that, honey. You got a lot of name there, a lot of name. As a mother, as a parent, it is such a joy, such a pleasure to see the woman you have become. You are loving and kind. You are filled with joy and optimism, and you are so competent, and you are wise. And there's maybe no greater testimony to your loving kindness and certainly your wisdom than this man you have chosen to be your partner. Dave, it is such a pleasure to officially welcome you into the McBurns clan, as we're called now. And although I feel that you were part of that clan from the get-go, and the get-go, of course, was the very wedding that Mark was talking about. The first time I met Dave was when Veronica and Dave were going to that wedding, and I happened to be in San Francisco. And when I met Dave, I knew right away he was a very self-possessed man because he was wearing a kilt. He was. But what I saw at that time, and what I have seen so many times since, is how happy you are together, how good you are together, and speaking only for my own daughter, how incredibly yourself you are when you're with Dave. And I take that as an excellent sign for your lives together. So I hope that you will all join me in raising a glass, in wishing Veronica and Dave a long and happy and peaceful life together. May there be many, many blessings on your home. Hear, hear. And I think...
Last, least, and briefest, indeed. I think we're ready for a celebration, but we have to just add to, what was a blessing prayer for all of you. I say add, not really, just to revisit that it was love that created the sun and the other stars, as the poet Dante says. And so it was a love that animates us and rewards us all here. We have been blessed to have the two of you. Over the years, I've said relative to Veronica and Michael, that my children are far better than I deserve. And I really mean that. You do have to be careful because who was it? That Prime Minister of Israel who said, "Don't be so humble. You're not that good." So I am saying, humbly that in fact they are better than I deserve, and I love you both very much. And now we can say that. Dave is a much finer son-in-law than I deserve. And I'm very rewarded, very happy, and very delighted by everything that has happened here today and all the love that I've seen here today. So God bless you. Ad multos annos, many years. May God grant you many years.
Sitting in a park in Paris, France, reading the news and it sure looks bad. They won't give peace a chance. That was just a dream some of us had. Still a lot of lands to see, but I wouldn't want to stay here. It's too old and cold and settled in its ways here. All the California